welcome to another edition of Greatness Quest. I'm Trevor Crane, and every week I'm bringing you someone absolutely extraordinary so that you can unleash their greatness in your business and in your life. And I'm here with Wall Street Journal award winner T.R. Garland, who also happens to be the best-selling author of How to Build the Ultimate Network. Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So talk to me, why should anybody be paying attention? Why is it so important for someone to build a network? I don't know, the people watching here have their own business, or they are salespeople, or they are budding entrepreneurs. When someone's watching, why is it important to have a network?
Well, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me. And the important thing that I want to say is that this interview, it's not about me, it's not about my background, and respectfully, it's not about you. It's about the listening audience, it's about the viewing audience. And from my perspective, I've conducted some surveys, and your everyday entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, sales and service-based professionals, last time I checked, they don't have $1 million marketing budgets.
Yep, we talked about that recently. I don't have $1 million marketing budget. Yeah, absolutely.
And what's happening today is because you don't have $1 million marketing budget, you're being encouraged to go out there to business networking events. A BNI, a Chamber of Commerce, local women's associations like NAWBO, or even association meetings. And the goal is to get referrals, to get introductions. And because you don't have $1 million marketing budget, the recommendation is word-of-mouth marketing.
Right.
But what I'm seeing is people are still failing at their own definition of what business networking is. And I want to serve your viewing audience by taking their knowledge to a whole other level, by up-leveling their understanding of saying, no, not just word-of-mouth marketing.
Right.
Not just relationship marketing or referral marketing, but go out there with the goal of building your own ultimate network.
And so if I had the ultimate network, and by the way, we're going to talk about the biggest mistakes, which I don't even know yet. I know that you have given us a gift, so everybody watching right now can get the free gift of the 3 biggest mistakes that most people make when they go networking. I'm guessing one of them has got to be like, here's my business card, hey, here's my business card, and do you want to hire me? But I'm not sure exactly what they are. But you can go to greatnessquest.com/TR Garland. That's TR Garland. Spell Garland for me.
TRGARLAND.
Spelling T.R. Garland. How do you spell T.R.? Didn't you say someone asked you that
I
once?
did. It's only the initials. It's kind of like a nickname like AJ, but it's TR.
And when we first connected, you said it's more like Madonna. I want to be T.R.
It was a branding. It was a branding decision I made years ago, yes.
That's very cool. So go to greatnessquest.com/TR Garland, and you'll get the 3 biggest mistakes most people make when they go networking, because you want to make sure you don't do those. But before we get into that, tell me again why. So let's say that if they have effective networking, if they can do that, because you've networked with some of the big, when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about like some of the names of people that you now have on your Rolodex and that you get to mastermind with and work with, which is pretty impressive. But if I had this ultimate network and I'm an average Joe, how's that going to serve me? You're smiling like...
I think it all comes down to the definitions and perceptions that you and maybe other people have made in the past simply just need to be recalibrated. Because my ultimate network looks different than your ultimate network, then looks different from a sales professional or an entrepreneur in Middle America or in Canada, or your international viewers. Their ultimate network looks different from ours.
Right.
And so there's a process, a structure, a formula, and a sequence to identify, attract, activate, cultivate, and then monetize the correct relationships.
So it sounds like you have a system. I don't think you just said that for the first time. Can you give that to me again?
Identify, attract, activate, cultivate, and monetize.
I think that's what we should be talking about during this interview.
Sure.
Is that cool?
Absolutely.
I mean, is there anything else more important to us right now on having everybody watch to go ahead and build the ultimate network other than those 5 things? What do you think for our time?
I don't think so, because although it's not truly one of the top 3 fatal mistakes that most networkers make according to the gift that we're going to offer you, I think a large mistake that people are making is that they're going straight in for the kill.
Yeah.
Right? It's like they're going straight in to try to monetize relationships with other professionals in their communities,
right,
in their niches, or in their industries. And there are 4 steps that they're forgetting about. So I'd be happy to go through those with you.
Well, and I think that was even the target of my questions when we were chatting before this interview is I'm like, well, how do you properly network? I mean, if that's what you teach,
yeah,
and that's what you're great at, and you described your network and its and who you're connected with, which is awesome. I'm like, how do you do that? And the cool thing is I'm really grateful that you're about to share these because I'm going to learn them for the first time as well, is that you're practicing what you're preaching. Like right now I'm trying to just get you to give me the goods, but you're saying it's a strategy first, and you don't just go for the kill. You just don't go out and like kill the first moving animal you see.
Correct.
You want to have a strategy, and it starts where? Go ahead and give me the first
Identify. The first step of what I call the profitable partnership formula, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be seen to your local community, your niche, your industry as a predator.
Yeah.
Don't be seen as a predator. Take the action steps necessary to be perceived as a partner. The goal is to find an army of advocates that are compelled to take action on your behalf always and every time. And the way that you compel people to action is to follow a proven sequence of identify, attract, activate, cultivate, and monetize. And don't try and skip the first 4 by going straight to monetizing a relationship. Can I tell a funny story?
You know what? I want to hear the story after the quick break. So you're watching Greatness Quest on the Whatever It Takes Network. I'm here with T.R. Garland, and you are learning how you can build the ultimate network for you and your business. See you in just a second. Hey guys, welcome back. You're watching Greatness Quest. I'm Trevor Crane here with T.R. Garland. And I would love for you to clarify for everybody, like this is about you building the ultimate network. And you said before that we were going to go ahead and it's a different network for everybody. So if we're starting with strategy, give me clarity. Why is it going to be different for you than for me than for someone watching?
Sure, absolutely. That's a great question, and thank you very much for asking. I think it's relevant for the viewing audience to know that your ultimate network is going to look completely different from his, and it's going to look completely different from mine. For example, my ultimate network, because I'm in the speaker, author, coaching, and workshop and seminar business, my ultimate network looks like someone like Brian Tracy, Michael E. Gerber, the legendary author of The E-Myth. My ultimate network includes people that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My ultimate network includes Laurel Langmeyer and John Azraff from The Secret.
Now, so just to give clarity, when we first started talking about this,
yes,
it almost sounded like this would be your ultimate. Like if you could wave a magic wand, have it any way you wanted.
Correct.
This is who you wish you could be with.
Yes.
But are these actually people that you get to work with now?
Absolutely.
So
most recently, last year, I helped Brian Tracy launch a coaching certification program. I was the Vice President of Strategy and Business Development for Michael E. Gerber Companies, the E-Myth guy, during the 25th anniversary of the E-Myth. Think and Grow Rich is wildly heralded as the #1 personal development book of all time, over 75 million copies. The Napoleon Hill Foundation looked to me to help them during the 75th anniversary of Think and Grow Rich. So I've worked with iconic brands, but I set a goal that was what my ultimate network looked like. I set a goal that within 3 years, this was late 2008, early 2009, that within 3 years, that's what my ultimate network looks like in order to help me accomplish my goals.
So this is what you're talking about, strategy, because I might not need it would be fun, it would be cool to be able to name drop that, but I may not need that to have the quality of life I want, to have the business success that I want, which is, I mean, if I had even one of those connections or a connection with you, through them, this may be the only ultimate relationship network I need is just connecting with you. So it depends on what my goals are.
Okay, and actually, thanks for steering me back to the fact that from a strategy perspective, start with goals. What is your own definition of prosperity? Start from there. What's your definition of prosperity? Then your goals, your personal and professional goals. And from there, then say, what advocates can I recruit into my network that will help me accomplish those goals?
Right.
Because I wanted to be a major player, an industry insider in the speaker, author, and coaching industry, I selected these people and I followed my profitable partnership formula.
Instead of a deadly mistake. Give me one of the deadly mistakes, and just I'm going to guess on this one because I'm thinking of most business owners are like, I need to go network because that's what we're talking about, building a network. I'm going to go join a networking organization because I need clients. They didn't start necessarily with their ultimate goal. They're saying, I just need another client desperately, so I'm going to go network, and I'm hunting. Like you mentioned a predator, I'm hunting for my client. So what's one of your deadly? What's one of your deadly? Because I know
three fatal mistakes that most networkers
there
make.
We go.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like it's deadly.
It is. Fatal, deadly, it's all the same thing. Bottom line is that, business is a battle out there. And if you don't strategically plan to win that battle, you are going to make mistakes and they are going to be fatal. They're going to be deadly.
So give me one
So the third fatal mistake that most networkers make is that people rent their relationships. They don't own them. Now, this is an entire topic that is discussed in the free gift that we're going to give you the instructions on at the conclusion of this interview. But what I mean by it is that you cannot build trust and credibility and build an advocate that is compelled to take action on your behalf if you only see or reach out to that person once a year or twice a year or every month. You're renting a relationship if you only see someone at an annual seminar. Oh, Bob, how you doing? And then 2 months later, you ask Bob to help you, introduce you to someone. He's not really compelled. That's renting a relationship. Whereas when you truly own a relationship, you are on their radar and vice versa on a weekly basis.
Okay, so it's about this, and I'm guessing it's adding value and a lot of other cool stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get to a really important issue is what gave you the right to be able to pull off those white shoes?
These white shoes, can you see them? Right? Can you see them? Okay.
Yeah.
These white shoes, I don't have the batteries in them right now, but when I walk, it plays Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. I was telling you, I actually have a pair of shoes very similar to that. Maybe I'll show them off one time. All right. Well, and you were about to. We completely got off base here. Do you? Can you bring us back to
5 steps? 5
steps.
Yep.
And you were starting with the first one. You're about to tell us a story. So bring us to the 5 steps. If someone's got some gold here, we've been having some fun.
Absolutely. So let's start with the first step: identify. Realistically, what I mean by identify is identify who your ideal advocate is going to be. This isn't sales, this is building an ultimate network. The difference between sales is that you're trying to find your ideal audience, who's going to buy from you. We're talking about longevity here. We're talking about the power of social capital, social influence. And when you identify your ideal advocate, you're actually identifying someone who has access to your ideal audience. Right? It may be an association, a community, or it may be an individual that has complementary client base than you do. So after you provide a service to them or sell them a product, they would be a solid referral or introduction for me.
So here's what we're just getting to know each other, TR and I, and years ago I decided that I wanted to become friends with my mentors. That's one of my goals. It's actually higher than any income goal that I have or anything else. I've loved the connection I've had with my mentors, and I've always thought how great it would be to mastermind and connect with them. And so as I've grown my business and my brand, one of the reasons that I have this show is so that I can do exactly that. Find people who are extraordinary that I can align with and hang out with and get to know. So that's kind of cool because I had a goal, because we talked about the mistake, right? I had a goal in my business and I'm like, who can be my advocate? This is not my language, but I love it because that's exactly what I wanted to do, was how can I add value and align with and work with and connect with? And so that's one of the strategies of this show. So Man, I like to have it confirmed.
Right on.
And so, okay, so you were going to tell us a story when we on the previous part here. So I know this story is going to be amazing, and everybody's going to hear it when you come back. I'm on here with T.R. Garland, who is a #1 best-selling author of How You Can Build Your Ultimate Network to Serve You in Your Business and Your Life. You're watching Greatness Quest. We'll see you back in just a second. Watching Greatness Quest. I am here with absolutely extraordinary networker, best-selling author of How You Can Build Your Build Your Ultimate Network, right?
Building the Ultimate Network.
See, and I messed it up there. That's all right. It's not going to go through the outtakes. We're going to leave that right there that I can't remember the name of the book. But it's so go ahead. And why is this so important for someone to know how to build their network?
Great question again. And I think that you're probably reading the minds of many of your viewers.
Because I know they're wondering about your shoes.
That's a topic for another day.
Okay,
That's a topic for another day.
Keep derailing you.
They want the beef.
I know. I'm sorry,
right? They want the beef, and I'm ready to deliver it to you. So first and foremost, why should you pay attention to the next 10 to 15 minutes? First, we're going to go through the profitable partnership formula, and we are going to offer you a free gift at the end called 3 Fatal Mistakes Most Networkers Make and How to Avoid It. But why? Why is this important? It's important because we've concurred that you do not have $1 million marketing budget. You're getting steered in the direction that the only logical way to market is word-of-mouth marketing, and you might not be having the success that you expect. So let's look at it this way. I know each and every one of you watching today has a message that needs to be told and it needs to be heard.
Right.
And that message will draw your ideal audience in and compel them to take action, such as buying your product or service or attending a webinar or workshop.
Right. This is about unleashing your greatness, your message,
Absolutely.
What your thing is.
Who you are at your core.
And if you don't have an ability to do that, and if you're struggling to really get to the next level, then this is why you need it.
It is, because your message needs to be heard and deserves to be heard by your ideal audience, but it gets very, very difficult spreading your message yourself, and it gets very, very costly spreading your message yourself. So when you amass an army of advocates that are compelled to take action on your behalf, always and every time, those advocates are helping you spread your message. Those advocates turn into a movement, and that movement magnifies and multiplies your message. So it's all about leverage. It's about leveraging relationships in your community, your niche, or your industry. That's the true value of building your own ultimate network.
I've got a friend of mine that I interviewed about building his business. He was a salesperson for Tony Robbins and had built he would go to a new city and he would basically make a ton of sales into Tony Robbins programs, like seminars and whatnot. And he'd never been in a city before, and he would just start going to networking events. And because he had a formula for adding value, the people at the networking event started promoting him to other groups, and he ended up having such a phenomenal result just because he had a system and a formula to go ahead and build an advocate, an army of advocates. So I think it's brilliant. Give us the mojo. What are your steps?
So we've already briefly gone over identify. I'll repeat it again. Identify, attract, activate, cultivate, and monetize. We've already brought up and we've beaten like a dead horse the fact that too many people go straight for monetizing.
Right.
It's not how society relates today. I love Glengarry Glen Ross, which is always be closing, the ABCs, right? But let's redefine the ABCs. Always be contributing. If you contribute to other people's success today that you've identified that would be key advocates to you, your business is going to be easier. It really, really is. So identify, we've tabled. Attract. How can you attract your ideal advocates? Well, that is a conversation in and of itself, but let's just say it's about focusing on you being you, your true authentic message, and it's about focusing about positioning yourself as an authority. There are many authority accelerators that you can implement to help raise your status so that when you identify your ideal advocates,
Right.
that your authority status may very well attract them as well, so that you don't need to be the predator or hunt them down. They might be attracted because of blogs that you write in an industry-specific #1 blog. You know, it might be interviews that you do for an industry-specific radio show or TV show. So first you identify, then you attract by use of authority accelerators.
And those two examples were blogging or being interviewed, or what were those other, what are some other
Well, you
examples?
certainly could win some awards along the way. It wouldn't hurt to win some awards along the way and be proud of the fact that you've won these awards, because that will help someone perceive you as an authority.
Well, and I've always said this is about positioning, and I like to position myself as my area of expertise, and I help my clients do the same thing,
Yes.
because then they're the expert and someone comes to be served and helped.
Sure.
So what are any other tidbits of how we can attract?
Realistically, just focus on the fact to where once you reach out to someone, what are they going to see, or what are they going to hear about you? Because first impressions are everything. Let's kind of just leave it at that.
Okay.
You've identified them, and then when you do attract them, which could very well be through organic, utilizing social media, or referral-based, or introductions, just make sure that your branding, your image, your background, that you're positioning yourself well to be an authority so that they pay attention to you.
Okay.
Identify, attract. The third step in the profitable partnership formula is to activate. Identify, attract, and activate. This is when you specifically go out there, you've identified the people, you've prepped up your bio, your social media presence, your LinkedIn presence, your website, and you're going to activate these relationships. You could activate a relationship with someone who you want to be in your ultimate network by hiring them. For me, being in the speaker author coaching space, I have activated relationships by first attending people's seminars. Be seen, be visible first. That's how you first activate a relationship.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
You don't have to. I'm simply throwing out one of the multitude of strategies that you can use to activate a relationship.
My wife wanted to use a quote from one of Seth Godin's books
Yes.
recently, and she reached out to him and just sent him, I think she tweeted him, and he got back to her within an hour, a direct response,
Yeah.
like I talk about this all the time. She
Yeah.
asked him a question, and so now she's engaged with him or started the process of activating their relationship.
Yes,
So
and
pretty
that
simple.
was my next suggestion.
I just, okay, what did I...
Social media.
Yeah.
Think about it. There are people out there that have amazing content, and they're offering it through tweets or through their LinkedIn updates or through their Facebook posts, whether it be personal or on their professional fan pages. And if you just consistently commented and liked on their updates on LinkedIn or their posts on Facebook, you would be slowly activating a relationship. Because I know some of you listening were saying, TR, I'm on the East Coast and this person I'm trying to activate is on the West Coast. It's going to cost me a lot of money to fly and attend a seminar of theirs or a sales training. So this is the alternative. Social media has leveraged and leveled the playing field for people, and your wife was a perfect example of executing upon a second suggestion that I would make, which is just follow these people and just comment over time, and they will over time begin to know who you are.
That's awesome. I'm thinking about how my wife has been looking to meet. She has a show here called the Financial G-Spot, so if you haven't checked that out, you should totally do that. My wife is hilarious with her names of her shows, but it's about the money and your relationship, and she wants to interview Dr. Ruth.
Yes.
And so what she started to do, I love the fact that we're actually we're like, well, where's the first place we can go? We didn't know anybody in our network, so she's starting to reach out through social media.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
It levels the playing field. Don't abuse it. Utilize it as if you were in the same room as that person, and they actually may thank you for starting to be bold enough to be the first person to comment on one of their updates or blog posts.
Right. I mean, and I'm guilty of this. I don't want to always put myself out there, so I'll read the post but not necessarily contribute. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. All right, so we've almost got the 5.
Identify, attract, and activate. Cultivate is the next suggestion. Cultivate the relationship. I know we live in an ADD society, right? We have attention deficit disorder. There's too much media being shot at us. We're addicted to Facebook. We're addicted to Pinterest on our phones. I can't be the only person that drives down the freeway or highway and sees someone texting or on their mobile phone.
Oh, you haven't done that?
I can't be the only person who looks to my right in the other car that is addicted to their mobile phone. Right? We live in an ADD society. We want quick results. However, this is about the end game. This is realistically about identifying the right people that are going to help you the rest of your life. I'll concede that people could go to a networking event and treat it like shooting fish in a barrel. I'll concede that a very good salesperson can get business from going to a BNI meeting or a Chamber of Commerce or an association meeting. But this is the story that I wanted to share with your audience. That's the same as us being at the same networking event and me walking up to you saying, "Hey, how you doing? My name's TR. What's your name?"
Trevor Crane.
Trevor Crane. Did you drive to this networking event?
Yes, I did.
Son of a gun. I sell car insurance. We should do business with each other.
Yeah, that feels kind of crappy.
Icky. Yeah. It feels icky, doesn't it?
But I love how live you just got, man. That was awesome.
It feels icky because it is icky. There's a shift in society today. A shift towards much more of a can't we all get along and respect each other mentality. It realistically has happened. And if you don't adapt your marketing strategies to that, your audience is going to disconnect. Your message isn't going to resonate with them, and they're going to go to someone whose message does resonate to them.
So how can I do that?
So we've gone identify, attract, activate, and cultivate. Make a plan on how to cultivate relationships. Don't just rent your relationships, own them. And what I mean by that is if you are seeking to create a joint venture partnership or a strategic partnership with another professional and you want them to introduce you to their community, to their paying clients, you can't just see them once a month. Some people might think that 12 times over a year is enough. No, if you create the right relationship and cultivate the right relationship, that person might introduce you to 10 new clients a month, and that's all you need.
Well, and didn't you tell me how when you started working with, you know, some of the names that you mentioned, let's say Michael Gerber, or you were working with Jay Abraham, and you said that you went in and you started to help and serve and add value.
Yes.
And it wasn't just like, hey, nice to see you again at the event.
Exactly.
TER.
Right.
You know, you didn't just share coffee with them, you were contributing. So you had a strategy to just contribute and give and give and give and contribute and give. Unless because this is something.
There's two things that I want to address. Okay. First and foremost, let's have some fun with this. I didn't mention Jay Abraham's name yet. However, ironically, I have done business with the man.
What?
Seriously. What? I didn't mention Jay Abraham's name before this, but I have negotiated a deal with Jay. He's a great guy. But the purpose is that, how and why and so on. You said contribute, contribute, contribute. And I'm going to venture to say, I'm going to assume that some of your viewers are saying, I have contributed to people, but I haven't gotten anything in return.
I totally agree.
I hear
people
that.
in networking events, man, and they've been there a year, they've been there 3 years, and they have yet to get a client.
Correct. Totally, absolutely.
And this is a common occurrence.
Because they didn't start with a strategy and they didn't follow a proven sequence.
And so are we going to bring this home with number 5?
Yes, exactly. Identify, attract, activate, cultivate. Cultivate the relationships with these individuals. The more that I know about your personal life with your wife, your family, what's important to you, the more that we're going to get to know each other, and I'm really going to compel you to proactively take action on my behalf and introduce me to people. So it's not just a monthly thing. It's certainly not a quarterly thing. Damn if it's a yearly thing. It's like, hey, let's on Friday, play hooky and go shoot the links or drink mojitos on the beach or something.
What's shoot the links? Is that golf terminology? I don't.
It's about taking that relationship outside of the professional into the personal. Because at the end of the day, people do business with individuals.
Well, I've taught this before, and this is I'm a cave. You've got a lot of passion, brother, about building the relationship.
Yes.
And so what I've done in simple caveman terms, with not such elegance and spiritual connectedness, and is like, let's have a cup of coffee. Like, you're cool. Let's have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, a cup of coffee is a great. I mean, and they can be a virtual cup of coffee. Like, let's just chat.
Yeah.
And so, because if you're at a networking event, that means if you're only having the relationship, even if it's only on Twitter or social media or LinkedIn or whatever, like, why don't we have a virtual cup of coffee? Insert, whatever social engagement thing you want there. But I think that's awesome. And I've got a cup of coffee. That's 3 words to my...
But don't forget about it. That's the thing.
What do you mean forget about it?
We're saying it right now, but don't forget about his advice. Don't forget about the need to implement the compound effect. Now, your viewers may have heard of the magazine Success Magazine.
I would assume they have.
Right? So Darren Hardy is affiliated with Success Magazine.
Just slightly.
Just slightly. And I happen to have had dinner and masterminded with him. And I've read the book as well. And it's about the small things that add up that produce massive results.
His best-selling book, The
Compound Effect. His best-selling book. And so let's just apply the compound effect to cultivating.
Okay.
When you plant a seed, you do not just water it once, leave for 3 months, come back, and expect crops. Cultivate your relationships, and having a cup of coffee is the first step. So grab a pen and paper right now and write down, I'm going to cultivate my relationships. And what's the first step that you're going to take on attempting to cultivate a relationship with someone who you want to build your ultimate network with?
This is also something that I teach called it's stages of the sale. So, and it's about, like, you're talking networking event, someone goes, they want to get a client. Like, why is everybody here? Everybody here to get more clients? And they're like, yes, I'm here to get more clients. Well, that's not, who's here to, at the singles bar? Who's here to get married? Like, I don't know. But you don't just go from, hey, nice to meet you, to they're your client. Hey, nice to meet you, you're my husband or wife, or we can go to bed together. It's about knowing the stages of the sale. So you're talking about having a strategy, and one of the strategies is to cultivate the relationship. It's about having clarity. If you're at an event, or you're going to, in this case, when my wife with Twitter and Seth Godin, she just took responsibility for one step, which was to ask a question. And her only real hope was that she would get some feedback. And she had no idea if she was going to or not. And we'll see what happens with Dr. Ruth. But I think it's cool, because to me, it's just, what is that next step? And a system is about knowing where you're going to go next, because you just got to get it from here to here. And the fun thing about the cup of coffee, or the cultivation of a relationship, is all I really need to do is set up the next time to connect. For me, these are my rules, not yours or anybody's, but it's just like the easy way for me to connect with TR again, and to go ahead and make sure I'm cultivating this relationship, is to set the appointment. Whether we have, whatever it is. And if he doesn't set it with me, I'm going to set it with myself on my own calendar, on my own strategy of how I'm going to make it happen. Because this is the way I think, is like, I just need to make the next connection. And I don't care what happens here, other than I think this is a cool guy that I want to interact with more. So, sorry to interject, brother. It's got my own 2 cents, man.
This is this man's show. I'm a guest. I shared. It's not about me, and I humbly said it's not about him. It's about you.
Very little to do with my dumbass.
Very, very willing to give you some stage time to teach your audience, how to be as successful as you are.
And he didn't tell the story how I took my pants off right before we started this interview.
Yeah. We probably don't want to.
I had to mic put our mic on and.
Yeah, that's not a. Maybe,
No, we
it
could.
may be an
We
image
could
some
wrap
of
this
your audience
episode up with
wants,
that.
and it
Probably
may be
not.
an image that some of your audience doesn't want.
I would think most on the doesn't. So bring it home. I think we're getting close to
Yep.
5.
So we've got identify, attract, activate, cultivate, and then you monetize. If you follow the identification of your ideal advocate who has your ideal audience in their community, identify. If you attract, if you make sure that you've built up a reputation, an online reputation, an image that breeds authority in your niche, identify, attract, activate. If you take the steps necessary to activate that relationship, identify, attract, activate, cultivate. Remember the story about Darren Hardy, the compound effect. Little things add up to much bigger things. So the small comments on someone's blog post over time will open up wide doors for you. Investing in other people's products or services, learning about how they interact will open up doors for you.
Yeah, that's mojo right there, by the way. Is hiring somebody,
Yeah.
just, I mean, to go ahead and buy their product, their book, their seminar, I mean, to go ahead and connect with them, that is ninja stuff. Because you tell them you're a fan, and it's so easy to connect with them. You just gave them money, whether it's $100 or $1,000 or $10,000. I think it's just gold, because it's something I've used, but I didn't necessarily know that it was part of your mojo strategy. Anyway, sorry,
Identify, attract, activate, cultivate, and then, and only then, do you have frequent and consistent monetization of your relationships.
So when you say monetize, this is interesting. It's at the end of your list, even though that's one of the first things we want as business people. As we started a business, we got a product or service, and we want to go ahead and sell it to somebody. You're doing all this other fluffy stuff of building a relationship and cultivating a network, which is what you're talking about. Because you can go ahead and get a client, and you might serve them or whatnot, but that doesn't mean that's an army of advocates.
Correct.
Because then you got to go bust your ass to get another client and bust it to go get another client.
Yes.
Versus, just give me one example, TR, and I of like a relationship that you cultivated that's a name that someone might know, where they called you up and said, you know, they were your advocate and said, we need TR, or you got a referral or something, so they can see the mojo here. Because how does that lay out? And it sounds, I'm a results guy, man.
Yeah.
I want a result right now. I went to the singles bar, I wanted to get laid.
Perfect example.
Did I say that? I said that.
We're all human beings.
Yeah, it happened.
You can say it.
It happened.
Exactly.
Right now.
So, personal story is that I happen to identify that Dr. Ivan Misner, the founder of Business Network International, BNI, the largest concerted networking groups across the world, I had identified that I felt like he would be a good advocate in my network. And in 2009, I volunteered to utilize my skill set on an e-learning project in which he was partnered with Brian Tracy, ironically Jay Abraham, Bob Proctor, and Stephen Covey. I actually volunteered for just under a year and a quarter pro bono because his profits from that project were going to his charity, the BNI Misner Charitable Foundation that funds the education of children around the world. I happen to, and my wife and her father have a foundation that fund the education of children around the world as well. So we had this common ground, and I volunteered my skill set, my professional skill set, to help them grow this e-learning project. And that opened up the doors for me. And Ivan introduced me to Lisa Nichols from The Secret. When I was introduced to other people and mentioned that I was partners with Ivan and Brian Tracy on this e-learning project, it opened doors.
Tricky bastard.
Strategic bastard.
But really good. That's
Absolutely.
Really good.
And don't knock it. You know, I know that we're having fun, but Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith from the movie The Secret, he actually says it's okay to give, but you can give and give and give yourself to the poorhouse. Whereas if you had a strategy you could give and give and give to the right people that will raise you and your family up so that you can continually offer your gift to the masses.
Well, here's to wrap this episode up. What I like most about that story here is how, and you skipped over it, but it was you operating in your greatness. You kind of said it in there. You said, and that offered me the opportunity to give my gifts, which you had originally said at the very, very beginning when we started talking about this, is that you got to identify what you want, and don't you want to go ahead and spend more time doing what you're most passionate about, what you love most, and that's the reason why you have to build your ultimate network.
Yes.
And that's a great, because I don't know if did you notice that you kind of ended there?
I have become so unconsciously competent in being myself that when you truly tap into your authenticity, the lessons that life has taught you and only you to offer your amazing gift, and when I say gift, I mean your talent, to the marketplace, it becomes effortless. We've complicated business. We've complicated, everyday entrepreneurs that are listening and watching today have complicated their lives by not being authentic. I say authenticity is the new audacity. It's bold to be yourself with all of your human flaws. And when you are yourself, you're going to attract your ideal audience and you're going to repel the PITA clients, the PITA clients.
What are PITA clients?
Pain in the ass clients.
There we go. There we go.
So your messaging of being yourself, of which thank you for complimenting me on that, I was just being myself, serving with no expectations, and look at the doors it opened up for me.
Well, I also called you a tricky, strategic bastard. So it wasn't just strictly a compliment, but to me, calling someone a bastard is a total compliment. So thank you so much for being here. It was
Absolutely.
really awesome meeting you, and you gave me those 5 points so many times. They're like ingrained in my system, so I hope they are for you too. I would love to have you back at some point and talk more about authenticity, because we were talking off camera and you got so into it. I think it's another very powerful part that people hide from their vulnerability. They hide from their failures.
Sure.
They hide from their blemishes, and that's what makes you beautiful and unique and special. And if you embrace it, you can become a rock star. So that's going to hopefully be another episode when I have you back.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
And we're going to give you the free gift. I'm sure you've seen that show up on the video here. Go to greatnessquest.com/TR Garland, and you can go ahead and we're going to get tell them just real quickly about
3 fatal mistakes most networkers make and how to avoid it. It's an audio program and a personal action plan. This guy twisted my arm to make sure that it wasn't just a waste of time bonus gift, that you could take actionable steps towards getting results, and that's what I'm delivering.
It's a pretty awesome guy. All right, brother, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We'll see you again next week on Greatness Quest. You're watching the Whatever It Takes Network.
Greatness Quest is also available for download on iTunes and Stitcher. See the link in the description below.